Hello, welcome to Midlands Today with Mary Rhodes and Nick Owen.
The headlines tonight.
We'll hold demonstrations on blockades again. Dairy farmers prepared to take more action over milk prices.
You've got to pay your bills every month, and we can't invest in the future and buy more cows because the money's just not there.
We'll be back with a dairy farmer in Staffordshire who told us in January this would be a make or break year.
Also tonight, ban the bladed football boot, a call from the family of a 13-year-old boy who suffered a deep gash during a junior league match.
After the tackle, I jumped up to my feet and I was in pain, and then I looked at it and then I just started screaming because I was scared.
Famous for its floods, but now Upton-upon-Seven's making a name for festivals, 4 in a year.
Could Nicholas Anelka's spell with West Brom be over after just 83 minutes?
And for the bank holiday weekend, the storm clouds are rolling in, but will it be a total washout? I'll have your full weekend forecast later in the programme.
Good evening. Dairy farmers across the region say they're prepared to start holding demonstrations and blockading processing plants again if the average price for their milk doesn't rise to at least 33 pence next month.
Farmers first started taking direct action last July when the average price per litre was 27 pence, less than many farmers said it cost to produce. Since then, prices have been on the rise, up to almost 31 pence a litre in June. But the number of milk producers in the UK has continued to fall, with 33 farmers in the Midlands leaving the business last year. Our rural affairs correspondent David Gregory-Kumar has been investigating the problems farmers are facing because of the low price they get for milk.
The milk prices have been awful, to be honest. They've been stopping us in this time last year. I mean, we were struggling to go on as we were.
So milk prices are up, but times are still hard.
You've got to pay your bills every month, and we can't invest in the future and buy more cows because the money's just not there.
Being paid just the cost of production, breaking even, that causes real long-term problems, especially on this farm. It's not far from Rugeley Power Station, and Dan is a tenant on a small starter farm owned by Staffordshire Council. Nearly 3/4 of the council's farms are dairy farms, and the idea is the farmers build up cash over time so they can eventually buy their own property. But that's almost impossible at the moment.
Cost of production is no good to the industry. What we need is money so that these guys, the guys here and other dairy farms, can reinvest for the future.
The lack of a financial buffer causes all dairy farmers problems though, especially when you hit a meteorological bump in the road.
They had a really tough year last year, and the spring was no better, being long and cold too. So they haven't got as much feed for their cows, so they've had to buy a lot more in, which of course has put up their costs.
So are we going to see a return to direct action, blockades of dairies and supermarket depots?
We don't want to go protesting. People get the wrong impression of Farmers for Action in sometimes, but unfortunately if the dairies don't want to talk to us, which does happen, we had 2 meetings recently with Arla, which came to nothing, then we're left with the other one as we have to go in and blockade.
And do you think that might happen?
I'm pretty sure if they don't come up with the answers, we will be blockading predominantly this next couple of weeks.
I live and breathe farming, I love my cows, but I think it'd be nice, the dairies and the supermarkets, to give us what we deserve and not to be at the end of the ladder all the time, and give farmers that work 7 days a week the chance to push on and progress towards the future.
Last year was really tough, but even as things improve, it may not be enough.
Well, David's on a dairy farm in Staffordshire for us right now, which we visited a couple of times in the past. So, David, are things better there or worse now?
Well, it's a good question, Nick. We'll find out in a moment when we talk to the farmer here, Andrew Porteous. But I should say we have talked to the processors, people like Muller Wisemans, and Dairy UK sent us a statement about all this. And they told us in their statement, while some dairy farmers supplying certain supermarkets are paid a price which reflects the cost of their production, the majority receive a payment for their milk that is determined by the marketplace and the interaction of supply and demand. So let's talk to farmer Andrew Porteous. Andrew, it is a business, it is supply and demand.
It is, but our product is in demand. Any dairy farmer that opens their mail in the last 6 months, there's been a leaflet from all the major dairies asking for our milk. So they can't really use that one, I don't think.
So you're a larger dairy farm than Dan's we saw in my report. I mean, how have things been for you?
Well, not great really. You know, we're all suffering with the high feed prices. We have made better silage this time, so that should help. But you know, we're really in desperate need of a price rise, and I hope next week there'll be a letter through the post saying that we've got one.
Now, you're much more active this time, more belligerent this time. Will you go back to the barricades effectively?
Yeah, if we have to, certainly I will. I think, you know, farmers are clearing straw left, right and centre at the moment, and as soon as that's done, those trailers are going to be going to the relevant dairies as and when.
But, you know, 33 farmers left the business last year. You're clinging on in there.
Yeah, we are, yeah, definitely. But, you know, we've been supported by our bank, very supportive, and we've got to, you know, we've got to really sort of, you know, we've just got to get the price higher.
Andrew, thank you very much for that. I think the big difference between this time now and this time last year is just how militant farmers are, and they're very experienced now at mounting these blockades. So the next week should be very interesting. Back to you in the studio.
David, thank you.
Now, coming up later